So I'm doing a blind reaction to. I moved from Los Angeles to Nigeria, and I would say it's the best decision I ever made. Let me tell you, this is literally what I'm dealing with right now. I lived in Los Angeles for a while, about to move to Benin and then Nigeria. So this brother is pretty much gonna be living the life. I think he's gonna be living the life that I'm gonna be living. Now, in his thumbnail, he had a son. I don't have children. So let's see how this all works out. But again, guys, thank you so much for the likes, the hypes, the shares, the comments. Everything's appreciative. Let's get in this video.
I moved from Los Angeles, California to Nigeria, and I would say that's one of the best decisions of my life, honestly. Once I moved here, I just felt like a weight was lifted off my shoulders, honestly, because when I was living in LA, you know, it's nice working at a very large hospital in Los Angeles, and I also had my own side hustles that were also bringing in income, you know, making over 100K. But the crazy part is, no matter how much you make,
that's the thing about being in LA, you got to have a side hustle. I mean, that's how Lex Pyerse Clothing, my clothing brand, started. The teacher that I have down here at the bottom, side hustled in LA.
In LA, it always feels like you're still living paycheck to paycheck. I mean, I know that it's based on your decisions on where you live, but I still didn't feel complete. For someone who wants to live like a comfortable life, sometimes it's hard to achieve that.
LA is a hard place because, and this is kind of in America in general, where no matter how much money you make, you will spend as much as you have. And, you know, yeah, you can say decisions, that decisions, this, but it's like there's no way to cut back or save up money, especially if you get like an illness or a car payment, you're screwed.
Hi, my name is Ifeanyi. I'm 38 years old. I currently live in Abuja, Nigeria, and I came from Los Angeles, California.
So where were you born?
Hello, my name is Ifeanyi, and I am the founder of Stack and Hustle, located in Abuja, Nigeria. Let me take you guys on a tour of Stack and Hustle.
Is this a co-working space? Because I'm going to be signing up for it.
So Stack and Hustle is a tech-focused co-working space.
Okay.
It's the first of its kind here in Abuja. It was inspired by my background as a web developer and also someone who has a master's degree. So Stack and Hustle is actually a co-working space, and it's also a design agency. So we actually welcome anyone from the public can come in to work. We do have very long hours here, so people can work late nights and get their work done.
I'm going to be looking this up. I don't care what it costs is. I'm getting in that. I like the late night co-working space. I need one.
Majority of the people who do come in here are developers, UI, UX designers. We have people in cybersecurity, and everything in between. So our space holds about 40 people comfortably. When people are here, they can buy drinks and snacks to kind of keep them engaged while they're working. We have very reasonable rates. For a day, you can get a seat here for somewhere around 6K for the day. So this is perfect for like those remote workers who are reporting to employers in the US and the UK. So let me just take you guys around and you guys can see a little bit more of the space. So this area right here is our circuit table. So the circuit table is more for like group collaboration. So if you are working as a team, your team can actually book this entire space. And
so 6,000 Naira is roughly $4.40. I mean, that's cheaper than a cup of coffee.
Work together on their projects. Along the sides, we have the high top bar. And the high top bar is just they're more for quick sessions. If you want to be here for like 4 hours or so, that's the perfect place to sit. Every seat has power sockets, so that way you can charge your devices. And we also have
I love that.
Portable power stations, just in case.
Woo, yeah.
This area back here, this is actually our reading lounge. So we're still building our library of books, but this is our reading lounge right here. So you can just go there, read a book, or you can still use your laptop there. There's also power sockets there as well.
Okay.
This section over here, this is the stack sofa. This is just like the area. It's more like a reset area. This is where hustlers is what we call them. We call our customers hustlers. This is where hustlers come to kind of reset. You know, when you're working on your computer for such a long time, it often can take a toll on your body. So people usually come here to relax and then they get back to work. So this section right here, this is like our gaming section. So we have a bunch of board games, card games, and group activity.
that.
We also have console here. We have a Nintendo Switch, and we also have a PS5 that we bring out from time to time.
So I think one of the businesses I may start, now that he's saying this, is a co-working space, mainly because I would use it personally. Let me know what you guys think down below.
We tend to have events on the weekends just to engage the community because in Nigeria, you have to be creative with your business. You cannot just depend on one source of income. So on the weekends, we do have game nights, and they are tech focused still. So let me take you guys upstairs. Before moving to Nigeria, I was already coming here like 4 times a year. As a web developer, at some point, my business, the demand was too high. So I decided to outsource the talent to Nigeria. And I realized that Nigeria is actually full of talent. We don't get enough credit. I feel like Nigerians living back home don't get enough credit for what we do here. We are acknowledged in the States for being doctors, lawyers, amazing things there. But I feel like Nigerians living back home, we don't get enough credit. We have a bad reputation for other things, you know, but those who are actually doing well here are not getting enough credit. So I actually designed Stack and Hustle to kind of bring that talent to light, let people know that I wanted to use my voice, my platform to help showcase the talent back home.
I applaud him doing that. Good stuff, man.
Okay, monthly expenses, aside from rent, because rent is already paid upfront for the whole year, but like my rent here is 10 million, but this is like a luxury. This is like a luxury apartment. So, but in addition to that, let's just say, let me just break it down. I'll break everything down, you know? Okay, so for my nanny, I pay 90K a month for my nanny, and she's a stay-at-home.
So that 10,000 was roughly 7,300 US. So
live-in nanny, you know. So
she's a live-in nanny?
My house,
cool.
My house cleaner, I pay her 30K per month, and she comes here. She was coming here twice a week, but I reduced it so she's coming once a week because my place doesn't get messy. So my cleaner is 30K a month. For my gates man, I pay them 40K per month to wash the car every day.
Woo!
For my staff, let's say my staff at Stack and Hustle, I pay them 300K. Anywhere from part-time makes 150K, and full-time, which is 5 days a week, makes 300K. My contract staff, which is my contract staff, they actually make good money because the more gigs, the more jobs they do, the more money they make. So my contract staff, which is remote workers, they can make anywhere from 400K a month to 500K, depending on how many jobs we're getting in. You know, because I'm charging in dollars from the US, you know, and I have a standard rates for everything. So if you do a website for me, this is how much you're getting paid. If you do graphic design, this is how much you're getting paid. So, and at the end of the day, my profit is actually really good. And just to give you an example, there's a website that I charge a client $3,000, but that website I paid my team 300K. So imagine how much profit I've made.
Yeah.
You know. And then, so now whatever profit I make, I now put that back into Stack and Hustle. The most money right now, I feel is being spent on the meter, like the lights bill, you know, the meter. I mean, it's crazy. At Stack and Hustle, last month we added it up, I spent about 250K on lights. Internet.
You spend less than that on your employees. Wow.
Internet is about 86K, but we're using Starlink. Getting gas for your car is expensive. So I'm very mindful of where I go, you know, and one interesting thing is here that gas stations are not open at night, you know, so you kind of have to be proactive.
They're not open at night? Why are they closed at night? Let me know down below, guys. Why are the gas stations closed at night?
with your planning. You have to make sure you have to have fuel in your car. There's been situations where my car has been on E. Sadly, there's been times where my car has been on E because I'm so used to, in the United States, even if your car is on E at midnight or 1 in the morning, 2 in the morning, you can still go to a gas station and do self-serve pump, but here that doesn't exist. So if you want to go somewhere out at night, make sure you have fuel earlier in the day.
Mm-hmm.
So this upper area is the VIP section. So we're currently like kind of remodeling the VIP area. We recently just switched out all the chairs to these comfortable gaming chairs that recline. And we're actually going to be adding monitors on all the desks here, just like we have on this station here. We realized that with this being a tech-focused co-working space, a lot of people in tech have the need for a second monitor to be more productive. So we are adding monitors to all these tables that connect through Type-C. So this is actually two of my team members right here. We have Obong, who is a very amazing web developer. And then we have Emmanuel, who is our admin. So he handles all the financials and everything. And I do provide training here for anything that people are not literate in, but these two are professionals. So let me take you to the private executive office. So this is the private office here. In case someone wants to have a meeting or maybe they're working on a project that requires screens, you can rent out this space and you can make noise because we have it separated by this glass door.
Walls. Yep.
As I mentioned, with this being my team member, so earlier I mentioned that this is not only a tech-focused co-working space, but it's also my design agency. So I'm trying to utilize the space as much as possible. So we are currently working on websites for customers in the United States. Majority of our customers are in the United States because I previously had these customers before moving here. Okay, so, and one thing I noticed when I talk to people who are based here, they find it challenging getting jobs in the US. For one, a lot of people, when they see a Nigerian number, they dodge it,
Yeah.
But me, I'm still using an American number. And because of my American accent, people feel a little bit more comfortable working with me. So I use that to my advantage to get jobs for people that live here. And so far, since I've been here, I've gotten gigs for 40 people. Okay.
So I like how he's he's paying it forward. He's taking care of his people. It's really dope.
Got to mention, we are running on solar. We have two 15 kVA solar inverters. This has helped us tremendously because while other co-working spaces are battling lights issues, we usually go the whole day uninterrupted. So normally we're on the grid, but if NEPA fails us, then it automatically kicks into solar. And this has been like a game changer for us, honestly, because there could be days where you can go 4 to 5 hours without lights. And luckily we have solar here. So this is Daniel here. Daniel is a UI UX designer. So the way that I met Daniel, I hosted a competition here where I invited UI UX designers across Nigeria to come and compete. And Daniel had the best design. So I quickly snatched him up and added him to my team. So, but Daniel does an amazing job. So most of the websites that we do, he's the one that designs them. And then once he designs them, then the web developers are the ones that actually code them.
Okay.
So we have like a full team here. No, I actually had a plan. I didn't just jump right into it. So what happened was every time I would come to Nigeria, I realized how much I was spending like on hotels and different accommodations. So I was like, okay, since I'm spending this much, it makes more sense for me to get like a small apartment that I can stay in every time I visit. I bet on myself moving here, like I know myself, I know what I'm capable of. So moving here, I think I probably had like $4,000 or $5,000 saved, and I know to a lot of people that's not much, but $4,000 $4,000, $5,000, it can get you by for a little while, while you use that to find your next opportunity. The challenges that caught me off guard in Nigeria is, now I officially have to do a lot of things by myself because I cannot afford to like hire someone to do everything. I used to come to Nigeria to vacation for like 2 weeks, 3 weeks. Those 2 weeks, 3 weeks, I literally have a driver. I have a security guard. I have everyone to do something.
So yeah, you're the first person to say that it costs you a lot of expenses. But I mean, that might be because of the co-working space too, correct?
But you cannot really sustain that lifestyle living here unless you're making a lot of money. So now all those things that I would ask other people to do for me, now I had to do it myself. I remember the first challenge where my meter was beeping. I had no clue how to load my meter, but luckily someone taught me how to do it. Sadly enough, I had to unlearn, perfection. And the reason I say it's sad because coming from the States, I do believe we have a higher standard of quality for certain things, higher standard of customer service. And the type of customer service you get in the United States is not really as common here. You know what? It's not.
I wonder what he means by that. Like, you guys are more blunt there? We're more passive here? Well, I wonder what he meant by that.
It's not easy doing business in Nigeria. One thing about Nigeria is that you have to have connections. You have to know people. You have to have someone on ground that you can actually trust. I know it's hard for us to trust people, but you actually have to have someone that you can trust to kind of walk you through and be honest with you. This is how much something costs, But the steps was I did my research. Stack and Hustle is a co-working space. That also doubles as my design agency. Before opening up Stack and Hustle, I went to a few other co-working spaces to see what they did wrong so I can improve on those things. In terms of finances, I did my research to find out how much it's going to cost to kind of bring this vision to life. I did spend about 25 million bringing Stack and Hustle to life, but that 25 million, is definitely worth it because we all know that in the tech field, there's a lot of money in tech, so that's easily going to pay itself off.
18,000 though. I mean, so I get his point that he did a gamble, but and it's a gamble. Don't get me wrong. But in America, that same place, I mean, the place alone would not cost that much. It'd be way more. So I see why he did it in Nigeria.
House hunting in Nigeria is not easy. I'm sure everyone here can agree with me that it's become a scheme for agents. Literally, you have to pay a $15K, viewing fee or whatever to see a house that you're interested in, and only to find out that it's not even what you're looking for, and you still have to pay it. I know some people who pay $100K looking for houses and don't even find a house. Imagine paying $15K or $10K for every single house that you go look at. It adds up. Someone come from Los Angeles. I was very specific about having an air conditioner, being in close proximity to like highways, making sure that I'm in a place that's well developed, just for security reasons.
I need to look that up. Why is there so many security? Why are there so many fees just to look for the apartment? That's amazing to me.
I'm out here by myself. It's me and my son. It's just us out here. So I want to make sure that wherever I put us, is going to be in a safe place. I actually paid 10 million here total, 10 million, and that is the rent plus the service charge. So this is actually a service apartment, which means that whenever there's power outage or whenever NEPA takes lights, especially in the evening time, the compound, they actually bring on the generator. Overall, I wouldn't say that Nigeria is unsafe overall, but yes, there's certain areas that are unsafe. Just like every other country, every country has its areas that you should be more mindful of when you're there. It took me some time to find the location for Stack and Hustle. Stack and Hustle, I made sure that I had a place that gave me the freedom to use my own operating hours, because a lot of places here, they're inside a plaza. Right. And if the plaza closes at a certain time, your business has to also close at a certain time. So I was fortunate enough to find a location that had no restrictions for time. So pretty soon, Stack and Hustle is going to be 24/7, Monday through Friday. So a lot of the remote workers who are having challenges at nighttime are going to be working there to to assist them in their remote work. Me becoming a father is something that I'm excited and grateful for. You know, I'm not with his mother, and you know, and it's okay. You know, life goes on, and me and my son are doing very well. You know, he looks just like me, which is always crazy seeing a miniature version of myself. But it's good. You know, I'm happy to raise him here, honestly, because one thing I told myself is that I don't want him to be raised in the US, you know, at least not at a young age. I actually want him to have like a strong foundation in Nigeria. One thing about Nigeria, and just like most African countries, is you don't have to worry about raising your child by yourself, because the community is going to raise the child, the culture is going to raise the child. Being an entrepreneur who has so many different things in my portfolio, you know, I have like 4 different businesses. So it's important to me that I have a nanny. And not only do I have a nanny, I have a nanny who has experience with kids, you know.
So how does that work when the community raises the family? Is he saying that everybody whoops your kid and then they let you know, more or less? Like, how does that work?
Does have that teacher mentality. So I think it's good. You know, I mean, it helps me to grow while I'm living here, because I never have to worry about someone taking care of my child. And the cost of me having a nanny here is much more affordable than me having a nanny in the United States.
Way more.
Like, I'm very intentional with raising my son here for many reasons, you know, because a lot of Nigerian parents plan to move back to Nigeria at an old age. And once they come to Nigeria, they still need to have someone who's going to look after them and be responsible for them. A lot of Nigerian parents have assets in Nigeria. Like, for instance, I know my mom is a businesswoman, and I think that's where I get it from. But my mom has like a lot of assets, and you know, as she's getting older now, so I want my son to grow up with that connection to Nigeria. So that way, one day, you know, if you know, one day when things are handed down to him, he doesn't feel foreign to it. You know, Stack and Hustle is here to stay. And while I'm here, I plan to develop so many more businesses. I have a lot of business ideas that I plan to bring here, and he needs to be able to take over those things one day. So my job as a dad is to teach him and guide him and make sure that he is fluent in business. You know, no matter if you like it or not, every Nigerian person is a business person at heart, you know, regardless of what you do. You definitely have to know business while living here. So I want to teach him business, and I want.
So I definitely like about that. So far, that's what I like about Nigeria so far. It seems like an entrepreneur heaven if you got the grind.
I want to teach him about customer service. I want to teach him about finances. And it's just good for him to really know the culture here. I plan to do a few years of homeschooling for him. I think homeschooling is very important. I have 2 nieces in the US who are homeschooled, and the amounts of knowledge that I've seen through them, you know, it's amazing. So I feel like that one-on-one ratio is really helpful for the child. So I plan to homeschool my son for a few years, and after that, I plan to put him like in a private school. And actually, Abuja has like a lot of amazing American private schools that have American curriculum. One thing I learned about doing business here is if you are doing any type of construction, you need to be there to monitor what's going on. And when I built Stack and Hustle, I was able to bring Stack and Hustle to life in 3 months, which everyone's impressed about, because usually big projects like that they take a lot longer. But I made sure that I was actually on the construction site every single day, like literally while the people were, you know, cutting tiles, I was there next to them, instructing them on how to cut the tiles. You know, I did hire an interior person who did an amazing job, you know, but, you know, just for my own peace of mind, I wanted to make sure that I was there. And I was actually like short of time, because I'm like, I already quit my job in LA, and this is like what I.
So all your eggs were in that basket and you were gambling. Yeah, I see why you micromanage them.
I have going for myself now. So it was really important for me to get Stack and Hustle off the ground. You know, so I was able to do it in 3 months. Once Stack and Hustle finally opened, just like any new business, you know, we were not getting customers. I had staff, I was paying staff, but I did not have customers yet, because we're still new. So I had to do like heavy marketing, you know, I did events. So now Stack and Hustle is starting to get traction. But there's still day-to-day challenges. You know, we install solar. The company that installed my solar, I won't say their name, but they did a horrible job. They did a horrible job. They used cheap materials. The wiring for my solar burned. The wiring for my solar burned, and I had to now pay
How does the wire burn? Or your solar burn? How does that happen?
more to come and get it fixed. So yeah, so those are some of the challenges. Like literally, you can go into the business any day and find out that there's something not working. So it's important that when you're a business owner in Nigeria, that you have some type of quality check. So I actually have my staff do a quality check report every single day. They do it on their phones manually. They go through, are the lights working? Are the ACs working? Are the seats clean? So that it's like 20 questions that they go through every morning and night. How many people came in today? Did everyone pay? These are things that I learned, in my experience in the U.S. and as a director of nutrition. It's important to have checks and measures in place. And one thing I'm hoping to gain from my experience here, I'm hoping to motivate more people from the U.S. to invest in Africa. People don't realize like how indirectly you're impacting people here. One of my really good friends in LA, like he saw my videos of Stack and Hustle and how I brought this place to life. And he messaged me one day. He was like, "Bro, how can I get involved? Can I be your partner?" I was like, "Nah, you can't be my partner because I already did all the work, but you can invest, So he like out of nowhere, he just says, "Okay, how much do you need?" I said, "Well, the solar costs 10 million." And within like a few days, he sent me 10 million. I was so grateful because
Wow. That's a good friend right there.
that 10 million, that
So my question is, what's his return on the investments with that 10,000, or can you disclose that?
10 million on that solar is like the biggest win for me because most co-working spaces in Abuja are still facing lights issues because they don't have solar, but as soon as NEPA takes light, my solar like kicks on right away and customers have no clue that lights has been taken. So I'm grateful for my friend for doing that. And I'm hoping that more friends, are like him and do things to impact here. And I also hope to help those abroad open up businesses here who want to open up businesses because now going through the experience myself, if someone wanted to like open up a restaurant or open up like any type of business, I feel like I have the experience to help them do that, like as the consultant. I'm still trying to figure out like the best way to eat here, because I'm not home all the time. I'm not really able to like cook the way I want to cook, and my nanny does a great job, but she is not familiar with the style of foods that I'm used to.
So she can't make tacos and burritos, is what you're telling me. Okay.
Like living in LA, like I said, you can get acai bowls, you can get like fresh salads with so many ingredients that I have not seen here. There are some ingredients I have not seen here. So I just think that right now for me it's a challenge. I think maybe I just need to explore more. Maybe those ingredients do exist, but I haven't found a lot of ingredients. But I'm really big on like healthy salads. The ones that I'm having here, they have a lot of mayonnaise in them, and mayonnaise
Explain that to me. Why does just salads have mayonnaise?
is not healthy. So. But Nigerian food is amazing. Don't get me wrong. Nigerian food is amazing, but our foods are heavy in carbs, and heavy in Maggi, and Maggi Maggi is MSG, so
What's
I
Maggi?
try my best, but I know my Nigerians will kill me for that, but I still eat Nigerian foods at the end of the day, because I have no choice. But a lot of the other foods that I did eat before coming, I have not found them yet. There's certain brands and types of foods that I find it difficult to get here. Before coming to Nigeria, I was big on like acai bowls and certain brands like Kirkland.
Acai bowls is really big in Los Angeles, and Kirkland is like the major brand in Los Angeles.
Makes really good honey. Unfortunately, when I go to some of the stores, I see a lot of fake honey. So and then when I do see like the real honey, it's like triple the price. So I would say like a lot of the health foods that I enjoyed having before, I actually have found some of them at some international stores, but they're like triple the price of what you would pay in the U.S. And that's mostly because they imported them from the US. So they had to not only pay the price, but they had to also pay the.
So what I'm gonna do is when I come out there, I'm gonna have a list of all my seasonings and spices and stuff like that. I'm bringing that with me, and I'm gonna actually double it up so that way I have enough to get by for a year.
Import fees. So yeah, so if you do want to like continue using like some American brands, you will find them here, but you're going to definitely pay the price for it. Honestly, socially, it has been good. Like, I'm actually not a social person. I'm more of an introvert, you know, but recently I've learned that being an introvert in Nigeria and a businessman is not going to get you anywhere. So I've
No.
been intentional about making connections and engaging with different people. But being the owner of Stack and Hustle, I've actually been blessed to connect with a lot of amazing people, you know, people with talent, and I'm excited to work with them. For me, who grew up in the US, I would say that dating for someone like myself would be better in the States, just because you can probably relate on more grounds. You've already
Hmm.
experienced similar things. So, because I've actually dated a few women in Nigeria, and the culture, there was actually a lot of incompatibility when it comes to culture and expectations for certain things. You know, I do come from a place where women, you know, women work. You know, not saying that women don't work here, but the expectation is that women work and, you know, they contribute. But the women that I have met, you know, a lot of them, you know, want to be taken care of completely, you know, like a lot of them just want someone to finance them, you know, and then just be a beautiful, just have a beautiful face, you know. But in this in this Nigerian economy, you cannot afford to be, you know, you can't afford to take care of the finances by yourself. You have to have a wife who is willing to meet you halfway or even a quarter of the way, you know, just to
Hmm.
help out. If you are someone like me who moved from the States to Nigeria, it, you will find someone, because there are a lot of hardworking women here, you know, but it's not as common, in my opinion. It's not as common. Family and friends in LA. I mean, some people were definitely shocked. You know, they were shocked that I wanted to move here, and but they were not concerned, because most people that know me well know that like I'm a high performer. Any I'm a high performer, and then I'm Nigerian. You know, Nigerian people were very resilient. Almost any situation you put us in, we're going to thrive regardless. So I
Hmm.
think in that aspect, I think they were not concerned with the move. It has not been easy here, honestly. The reason I say that is because running is like one of my passions. I like going out on the streets and running, but you run in Nigeria, it might be your last run, you know, because America is a pedestrian first society. Nigeria is the opposite. Nigeria is a driver first society.
You know what, Eric? I'm gonna do a review. I never see bike lanes, so I kind of see your point. Yeah, you might not want to run out there. Maybe in those private communities in Banana Island, you could do that, but I guess not out here in Abuja. I guess you can't do that.
So if you get hit by a car, who's at fault? It's the runner for being in the way. So I do have
The runner's at fault. Ooh. So is there runner's insurance out there in Nigeria?
like a mini gym on my in my bedroom balcony, and I do have a gym membership at a local gym. But for running, I go to a sports. There's a sports arena called Mona Lisa. They have an amazing track where I go work out at. So if I would have done this differently, I would have made a real estate friend. First of all, someone
Okay.
who knows Abuja very well. You know, that person, and preferably someone with a car. You know, because I realize a lot of agents in Nigeria don't have cars. You know, they're asking you for boats for transport money.
How you're a real estate agent, you don't have car? Explain that one to me.
But so definitely get an agent and make them your friend. You know, that's usually helpful with the agent fees. So get an agent, make them your friend, have them show you all the places, and they can tell you whether the place is safe or not. There's this misconception that, you know, you move to Africa and everything is going to be easy. You know, it's not easy. You know, like even as I'm here now, you know, I definitely have my own challenges. if I could buy a house now, I would buy a house, but unfortunately I can't afford a house yet, but I'm sure in a few years I will be able to, with hard work and opening up different businesses, I definitely will be able to do it. But anyone who wants to move here, definitely do your research, do the currency conversion and know how much it actually costs to buy a house. And it's not just about buying a house. You have to make sure that the quality of that house makes sense, because one thing I also learned about living here is when you do a home inspection, it's not even about the aesthetics anymore. You literally have to go under the sink and see what materials that they use for the piping. You have to materials. A lot of developers like to use very cheap materials, and you will not learn those. You will not learn about that.
Just like America, you got to do the same thing. Now, maybe there's because everybody's licensed, they get in more trouble. But yeah, it's just like in America.
Until you live there for like a month or two, when you start noticing that things start breaking down. I remember one crazy time that I came home, this whole apartment was flooded like a swimming pool. Like as soon as I walked in the door, I was splashing on water on every single room. And come to find out, the person who installed the water heater used a plastic tube for the water heater. So the water heater melted the plastic tube and water was everywhere. I was gone. I went to go work out for like 4 hours. So imagine your whole house like full of water for 4 hours. It took me like 2 days just to get all the water out. Because there's a lot of focus on Lagos is exactly why I didn't choose Lagos. Because I feel that no matter whoever it is, everyone chooses Lagos first. So I'd rather compete with 2 people than to compete with 200 people. And I believe that there's so much potential here in Abuja, like
Abuja has a lot of potentials. Ooh, this skyline's amazing, by the way.
for instance, the tech culture here there's not a heavy tech culture here.
Really?
There's a lot of people in tech, but there's not like heavy tech events. And since I've come here, I've been doing amazing tech events that have brought 200 people to my events. What I gained from moving abroad is, I would say peace of mind. Peace of mind is what I gained from moving here. Despite the challenges of living in Nigeria, I would say that I feel like if you're comfortable financially, you will have peace of mind. You can be comfortable financially in the US and you still will not have peace of mind. So I think that peace of mind is what I
Yeah, you will stress out in America. I don't care how much money you got. Because, I mean, you're one bad day away from losing everything.
gained by moving here. Like literally, I created a life for myself that I no longer have to wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning every day. I now have staff that I'm paying to run my operation for me, and I trust them. And it's nice that if I want to take my son out, I can literally just call my staff and say I won't be in today, and I can hang out with my son for the day. So I like the fact that I have peace of mind and more control of my life. A few years ago, I only had one employee, one staff. Now it's looking like 20 or so. And the 20 is a mixture of salaried staff as well as contract staff. Because of the type of work that I do, clients from the US, from the UK, they reach out to me and they let me know the services that they need. So my job is to source for local talent here who knows how to do those things. And I pretty much bridge that gap and make that opportunity. So I manage the staff to make sure that make sure that under my business that they're providing the quality that the person is expecting. I would say my staff actually love working for me and with me. When I say with me, I'm working side by side with my staff. I'm not one of those. There's a lot of, I came into Nigeria with a different mentality. I come from a place where managers are working alongside their staff, so I came here with that mindset. So I'm actually working with my staff. So I think that they see that and they appreciate that. They know that I value them because I'm actually going through the same any struggle that they have, I'm going through the struggle with them, but yeah, I mean, and in terms of pay, I do my market survey. I ask people from different levels, how much do you make? I mean, sadly, there's people that are making like 30K, 20K a month, which is not much, and it can't get you much. I spend literally 90K to fill my car. So I'm spending more on filling my car than this person is making in the whole month, and that person is probably working 7 days a week. So I did my market survey, and You know, since I work in tech, I did a survey with other tech people in Lagos, and someone in Lagos told me that they make 300K a month. You know, working 7 days a week, working 12 hours a day. You know, um, but me, I said, okay, well, if I'm going to pay someone 300K a month, they're not going to work 12 hours. I want them to have that work-life balance. They're only going to work 8 hours. As someone who lived in the United States my whole life and visiting Nigeria, I always had the challenge of finding the things that I needed. You know, like you're new here, the only way that you can find something is to ask around, you know, but even those who you're asking is expecting you to give them some type of money just to give you an answer. So I developed an app which is going to be launching very soon, you know, so I definitely want everyone to download it. The app is called Find Naija. Find Naija is actually a global directory for Nigerians, regardless of where you go. Whether you're in Europe, you're in Nigeria, you're in the United States.
I need that map. I hope it's done by now.
You can find any Nigerian business or service or product on the app. So it's a community-driven app. So the more users we have, the more businesses are listed on the app. But it's going to be a game changer for those, especially those who are visiting here for December. You know, because you'll be able to find all the things that you need and kind of connect with those businesses before even coming here. Okay, in terms of my transition here and things that I brought in, I actually brought a lot of gadgets and electronics. I didn't really bring too much clothing because Nigerian tailors are the best, you know, so clothing is not even an issue. I brought things that I knew would be hard for me to bring from the US because there's still things now that I'm finding hard to get here, you know. So when it comes to electronics, Nigeria does have a lot of fake electronics if you do not do your research well. They will package it very well and it looks like the real thing. It's not until you put it on, you're like, how come this one is not working? You know, but so I think it's important that you know, we do our research and know what we're buying. But yeah, definitely electronics is one of those things that anytime I need it, I get it from the States. If an African American wants to move to Nigeria, I think this is actually a good starting point. You know, our universal language here is English. You know, so that's already a plus for anyone who wants to come here. In addition to that, Nigerians in general have also kind of been versed on Black American culture as well. So we do have some things that we can actually relate on. But aside from that, I do feel that Nigerians are very welcoming. As long as you're a good person, you know, we will treat you the same back.